a dozen days. Day 12. We are cruising right along. We've got the kindergartners here, looking nice and fluffy. They got their shoulder feathers coming in. You can see them coming in really well. Got little Lateralus up here. She's tiny, but she's progressing really well. She's got her little wings there. And this is Fiddle. Now you got Faddle over here, sporting the sports stripes. He's got his racing stripes on. And little Jack. Stupid red light. Yeah, Jack's the smallest of the group in here. Not that much smaller than Lateralus, but they hold their own. They do pretty good. Everybody down here is really good. I haven't had any issues with these guys at all. They get a little spunky sometimes, but other than that, they seem to be pretty good. I did some investigation today. There's a local feed store that has been here since I was a child. My grandparents used to go and buy all of their food for the dogs and the cows and the pigs and the chickens and everything. We would go to this one local feed store, and it's still here. I'd completely forgot about it until I started thinking, and then I was like, oh, well, I'll try that. So I went there today and I talked to him, and the lady that I talked to said that I had asked her about the food issue with the chickens not laying eggs, and she said that she had heard that from like 3 other people that had come down and asked them about their food. I also asked her about the chick start, because it only makes sense to me that like once you feed them medicated food for a little while, that you wouldn't actually need the medication anymore. It's like how medicated do they need to be? So I went ahead and got some chick start that does not have medication in it. So hopefully once we get to kicking on that, they maybe will clear up some of the issues they're having. The other thing that I wondered about too, the first bag of food that I bought was just like a little, it was like maybe 10 pounds or something. It was just a little tiny bag. And the chick start in it was like solid crumbles. It was like the really chunky parts in here, like bigger chunks. And this bag, I went back, and because that ran out, and I got a 50-pound bag. And the 50-pound bag is like dust. Like there's a lot of dust in it, and not as many of the big chunky crumbles. So I was thinking about that, and I was like, so I wonder, because of the way their crops work, if the dust is not good for them, and the chunky crumbles might be better for them and kind of work like grit would, since it's a little harder. And the bottom, there's just a lot of dust in it. I mean, it's just almost like ground up. There's very few little chunks in it. So I'm going to try the other food, see what happens. I don't know what I'm going to do with like 40 pounds of the other chick start, but I'm going to open the other one and try it and see what happens. But in other news today, rather big news, up here with the preschoolers, we've got everybody doing really well. We upgraded. We got a new clear fancy container. It's much bigger for them so that they have more room to run around. We have more room to space out their things so their water doesn't get quite as bad. As you can see, we got some stuff going on there. But when I was speaking to the lady at the feed store, I was asking her about the impacted crop problems, and she suggested, as I had read online from several people, to introduce grit, chick grit. It's just rocks. This is what it looks like. I went ahead and got some. But it's just like, it's just rocks is all it is. And when I first put it in here, I put it in like on top of their food. And they all kind of jumped on it and started eating, you know, started taking some of it in. And then they didn't take a whole lot, which I'm kind of glad, because of the things that I have read about the chick grit. I've read that it can actually cause impacted crops. But Felicity has been doing just wonderfully today. Everything, she's growing. She's no longer one of the smallest. She's catching up with Wi-Fi and Mofo. And then Fifi. Oh, Fifi. Fifi was having issues today. I really thought we were going to lose her for a little bit, and she's not 100%. If you watched yesterday's video, she was doing the alert peep, the I'm having issue peep, and standing straight up, really having trouble, you know, doing the poo. So today we did a little bit of emergency treatment. I took her and separated her from everybody, and spent quite a bit of time dealing with her and the impacted poo. We went back and forth. She went a while where she was looked depressed, as they were describing in the symptoms of different issues. She was standing off by herself, wasn't really very active, was just kind of hanging around, wasn't going around the other chicks very much, wouldn't eat, wouldn't drink. So she had gone downhill quite a bit from yesterday. So I took action and started doing some just kind of running warm water over her butt. It had distended away from her body, kind of like the way that Parabol did. So I was having some flashbacks from that. Thought for sure we were going to lose her because she was showing the exact same symptoms. Really hard poos. She would strain really hard and it would get right there, but nothing would come out, or just a little tiny bit would come out, never emptying all the way. So I did the vegetable oil treatment with her, much like I did Felicity yesterday, because that was one of the recommendations that I read. Said that if you do a little bit of vegetable oil, just get them to take just a couple drops. It can kind of loosen things up down in there. So we did that, and probably about an hour or two later, she cleared everything, I think. And she started acting better. She started eating again. She started running around with the other chicks and, you know, showing interest in things that they were showing interest in. So she's making a comeback. So I may have saved one. I don't know. I don't know if what I did had any bearing on what happened there. I do think that the grit is helping, because their poos have been a lot more solid. Felicity's crop is much better today. It's not all poofy like it was yesterday. It was completely emptied at one point today when I checked it, so she is emptying it. Again, I don't know if my intervention had a thing to do with that or not, but you know, that's the deal with that. And I've been kind of feeling around on all of them. Now, Mofo, the big one, doesn't have any kind of hardness in the crop at all. Like, there's no lump, it's just completely flat. Pretty sure that's the way it's supposed to be, at least once a day, or at some point throughout the day that should empty. And I noticed with all of the other ones, all of these little babies, that there's something in their crops almost all the time. It feels hard, which it feels hard when it's full with food too, so you can't really tell what it is. But I've been kind of massaging it a little bit and keeping track of it. I'm thinking that might be what has kept them from growing, is that their crops might be impacted, or they might just not be digesting things well. So, with any luck, the grit is going to help us out, and it's going to get things flowing well. Again, none of the other chicks seem to be having any issues. Parabola is looking great. Lots more white coming out on the bottoms of the wings. Got a little white wing tip going on there on the long feather. It's looking really good. And when he stretches them out, you can really see him. His colors are deceiving because he's so dark. It looks like he doesn't have any feathers, but he does. And then little Felicity, she's really starting to pop hers out too. Her little tail's starting to look more distinct. Like it's like she's got a little poof there now where she didn't have before. And look at those colors. The white with the dark gray. We've got some white undertones underneath there. Oh, she's going to be beautiful. I really hope they make it. Fully anticipating losing some more. That's why with Fifi over here, I was like, okay, well here we go. I guess we're going to lose another one. But she pulled through, so hopefully she straightens up. And her poos are still a little strained. She peeps a little when she poos now, but it's not like it was before, and nothing like it was before, because it was probably like every 10 or 15 minutes she was straightening up and peep, 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 trying to poop. And yeah, it's no fun to watch them go through that. So we're going to monitor the grit. We're going to monitor the chicks and make sure they're doing okay. I did throw a little bit of grit into the kindergarten room as well, because they really like to peck on this part of the box for some reason. So I put a little bit of I changed their food out because, again, it was all just dust in the bottom of the container. So when I switched it out, I just threw some of that dust down there and with some of that grit in it, and they really liked that. They all got a little bit of that, and everybody seems to be doing very well. These I know that, you know, things happen in chickdom, but I'm thinking that these guys are going to be good. They seem very healthy. I love the way they perch. It's so cute. Yeah, I'm looking at you guys. See, that's fine. We're looking at you. Yeah, they hang out all the time. All right. So Thursday we go pick up new chicks. I think I want to get 5. I'm going to look and see what the story is with the rabbits they have. I'd kind of like to have a couple rabbits. So I'm going to start looking into that. I've had rabbits before. I raised rabbits for the 4-H. So I'm very familiar with how to do bunnies. Needless to say, they are much easier than chicks. I think the biggest problem with the chicks is that they don't have their mama hen. I think if this was done the natural way, if they had the mother hen, if everything was as nature intended instead of the artificial stuff that we have going on with the hatcheries and the incubators. I mean, I understand it. I'm thankful for it because I wouldn't have these guys without it. But you know, I think the way nature intended, they probably wouldn't be having as many issues. Because how would they survive if it was this hard for them to survive? Don't know. What did they do before we came along? How did they make it? How does anything survive without human intervention? Funny, huh? Alright. Until next time.